Greetings and welcome to the World Numismatic News as we take a look at the top 10 Lincoln penny variety coins from the roaring 1920s. The first coin to look at is a very attractive but little discussed repunched mint mark variety from 1928. The 1928 S over S coin is marred by its exclusion from the popular Cherry Picker's Guide, despite its inclusion in Konikka's Top 100 list, and as a result, PCGS does not recognize this variety as of yet, even though NGC and Anox will gladly attribute the coin for you. The final placement is southeast of the initial punching, resulting in a very nice doubling of the upper curl of the S towards the northwest, as seen here, as well as the same effect on the lower serif of the S as well. This coin would gladly sell for anywhere between $50 and $300 depending on the grade of the individual coin in question. Then another repunched mint mark variety, but this time it stems from the Denver Mint in the 1927 D over D variety. Here, the D mint mark is placed directly north, creating a rather unmistakable effect towards the top of the mint mark, as well as doubling towards the lower serif. An interesting anomaly on this coin as well is some slight doubling that can be seen on Lincoln's eye as well, just towards the right of the lower eyelid. In late 2019, during a rare coin auction in the Bellagio in Las Vegas, a PCGS graded MS64 red-brown example of this variety was sold for $1,175 at auction. For the next coin, we head to 1925, and the first and probably the least spectacular double die variety if I'm being completely honest. This is, however, a very nice example of Class 6 or the standard hub doubling, which can be quite easy to miss if you are not paying close enough attention or simply don't know what to look for, as most of the doubling simply displays as nothing more than extreme additional thickness on the letters. And the most noticeable place to spot this variety would be on the date itself, especially on the tail end of the 9 or the lower halves of the 2 and the 5 of 1925. In 2016 though, a PCGS graded MS65 brown example of this type was sold at auction for $1,116. And lucky number 7 is the 1927 double die Obverse Lincoln Cent. Here we have some moderate doubling to the Obverse as a result of Class 1 hub doubling with a slight clockwise rotation. The result is seen on the first few letters of Liberty and the last several numbers on the date. However, the best place to identify this variety will be on the letters of In God We Trust. Here, you can see the doubling towards the left of most all of the letters in question. Later die states for this particular coin do become more difficult to diagnose, so just keep that in mind as well. Quite a popular variety in its own right though. Early in 2020, a PCGS graded MS64 red example was sold at auction for the sum of $1,527. Nearly at the halfway points on this list, and we head to the end of the decade now to find a 1929 S over S repunched mint mark variety. The repunching on the mint mark is fairly straightforward and was punched directly to the south of the initial impression, as that striking was simply too high and thusly too close to the date. The remnant of the first S can now be seen only directly towards the top of the S mint mark. A fun little diagnostic for this variety that can be seen on all examples, but is definitely more visible on some, is a clash mark on the reverse of the self-same mint mark, just under the M of unum and towards the top left of the right wheat stalk. This is actually quite a difficult variety coin to track down, and in 2019 a PCGS graded MS65 red example was sold at auction for $1,821. And then from there, again to 1925, where we have almost the exact opposite of the coin from the listing before. This is again an S over S repunched mint mark, but this time the second impression was placed towards the north, with the first mint mark being simply too low instead. What's left of the initial striking can be detected directly towards the south of the final S mint mark, and judging from how bold the remaining elements of the S in fact are, it must have been quite a strong impression to begin with. Again, a fairly popular variety, and in March of 2018 a PCGS graded MS64 red example was sold at auction for the sum of $1,920. The next penny variety is one from 1928 and is not a double die or a repunched mint mark as you might have come to expect, but rather is the 1928 large S variety. That's right, the S mint mark on this coin is of a distinctly different style than the one that was usually in use. As the name implies, the S is significantly larger than the S on the normal or the small s coin. The easiest way to spot this, if you don't have another coin to compare it to, is to look towards the serifs of the S that are shaped very differently from the normal small s mint mark. This is an interesting variety, and more collectors are beginning to pay attention to things like mint mark styles as well. In 2019, a PCGS graded MS65 red example of this type was sold at auction for $5,875. Okay, so I maybe cheated a little bit on this one, where the number 3, 2, and 1 spots are all different coins, but are subtly different varieties of the 1922 penny. You see, in 1922, the economy was struggling, and demand for circulating coins was at a low point for the era. In fact, the only mint striking pennies was Denver, so from that, all 1922 pennies should by rights have a D mint mark. However, some do not, and these are known as the 1922 no D or even weak D coins. Die pair number 3 is what is known as a weak D variety. On this coin, the D mint mark should be all but obliterated, with only the very faintest of outline remaining, positioned just barely south-southwest towards the first 2 in 1922. This obverse should also then be paired with a very badly worn reverse die, as seen here. Even in higher numerical grades, this coin will have almost no details on the wheat stalks and the motto of E pluribus unum, which should barely be legible due to the badly worn die. During 2019, one of these weak D coins was sold at auction in a PCGS slab with a grade of MS63 red brown for $1,320. Then we move on to die pair number 1. This coin should have no trace of the D mint mark whatsoever, whether due to a filled die cavity, wear or abrasion, or a bizarre combination of the lot. This is the 1922 no D variety. The major distinction between this and the next coin on this list is that it still shares the same worn reverse die marriage as the previous coin, which is why it is also called the no D weak reverse 1922 cent. For this type, a PCGS graded MS64 red example was sold in 2019 for $22,800. And then we have die pair number 2 for the 1922 no D penny. On this coin, we have an obverse that has absolutely no trace of any D mint mark, a die that was obviously polished and sharpened in places, most noticeably on the last 2 of 1922. And this is all paired with a clearly fresh and crisp new reverse die, earning it the moniker of the 1922 no D strong reverse cent. This is by far the most desirable of really any of the 1920s variety coins, and is always in high demand in the market. And in 2018, one of these was sold at auction in a PCGS slab with a given grade of MS64 red-brown for the sum of $63,000. So those are your top 10 Lincoln penny varieties from 1920 to 1929. Was your favorite variety from this decade included in this video? Let me know in the comments section below. And subscribe to WNN. Activate notifications with the bell icon so you'll know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you ever so much for watching, keep collecting, and as always, have a fantastic day.